Oh, hey, what's going on, Birdland? Sorry I didn't see you there. Was just grabbing this gardening tool, try to help out all those New York fans in Yankee Stadium. There must have been leaves everywhere because the Baltimore Orioles were raking. Good night. Hang out with me. Let's talk about it. Let's go O's! What's going on, Birdland? Hey, Baltimore Bob's here, and wow, what a stinking ball game. The Baltimore Orioles just absolutely demolished the New York Yankees 14-1 in Game 4 of the 4-game set. Just an amazing stinking game. I almost want to take a screenshot, and save it, maybe print it out and put it up on a wall or something, looking at this stinking box score. It was absolutely amazing. Once again, 14-1. And good news, the Tampa Bay Rays, they also lost, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's look at a box score real quick. Baltimore finished with 14 runs, 20 hits, and only one error. New York, 1 run, 6 hits, 0 errors. 14-1. How about Kyle Bradish? Just like I said, if you go back and you look at, my New York, Baltimore video that I did about, this 4-game set and the preview and everything, I've been a big proponent of Kyle Bradish. And, Tyler Wells and Kyle, I feel good when they're on the hump. And my man came in, and kudos to him as well, because Baltimore was batting so well that he spent long durations on the bench in the dugout trying to stay warm, and he still ended up throwing 6 innings, only gave up 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. My man had a stinking outstanding outing. That's back-to-back quality starts by the Baltimore Orioles starting pitching, so you gotta stinking love it. Nick Vespi came in. He gave the Birds 2 innings, didn't give up anything. And then Bizzardo came in and pitched the 9th. He did give up a run, but it was unearned. Ball snuck underneath Ramon's glove. He didn't play a whole bunch of first base. Probably a play that he should have made. They gave him an error, but we'll take it, 14-1. It would have been nice to shut the Yankees out, but we'll take it, 14-1. Now, this lineup, the stats that I'm about to go over with you are just so beautiful. I want you to just let this music come into your ears because, man, I hope with all the struggles that we've had on the offensive side of our game that this was an awakening, a reawakening of the Baltimore bats. Gunnar Henderson went 4 for 7, scored 3 runs, had 5 RBIs, and he mashed 2 home runs. Adley Rutschman went 1 for 3 with 2 walks. He had 1 RBI, scored 2 runs. McCann even came in afterwards, I think in the 8th. He got a part of the hit party. He went 1 for 2 with a run as well. Anthony Santander went 2 for 4 with a run. Jorge Mateo even knocked a little dinker over to second and was able to get on 1 for 1. Ryan O'Hearn had a real good day at the plate. He went 3 for 4 with 4 ribbies in a run, and he also had a walk. Ced Mullins went 1 for 4 with 2 ribbies, and he also scored a run. Colton Cowser went 0 for 3, but he did have 2 walks and scored a run. Jordan Westberg went 2 for 5. He had an RBI, 2 runs, and a walk. Adam Frazier went 3 for 6 with a run. And Ramon Urias went 2 for 6 with 1 run and 1 RBI, not making it up. The Baltimore Orioles went 20 for 45 as a team with 8 walks. That is stinking, just an unbelievable game. Unbelievable stinking game. Unbelievable game. You gotta love it, how that all stinking played out. To lose the first 2 the way that they did, and to come back and win this ball game the way that they did, says a lot about the fortitude of this baseball team because, they were not playing very good baseball, and these last 2 games, they've really gotten things on track. Now, I'll do a Minnesota preview because that's their last. They're going to be headed to Minneapolis here soon, and they're going to have a 3-game set with the Twins before the All-Star break, which has the best pitching staff in baseball. So that's going to be the test. That's going to be where we find out how good or if the Baltimore bats have awakened, like I sure hope that they have. But let's get back to this Yankee game, this beating, this absolute bashing of the Bronx Bombers. Oh, man, it was so stinking beautiful. So, top of the first, Gunnar Henderson first, he's the leadoff batter. He works the count full and ends up mashing a home run just to the right of the left field pole. Short porch out there in left field in Yankee Stadium, and he was able to take advantage of that for a 1-0 lead. So that was real cool to see Gunnar in that leadoff spot and putting the birds up early. Gave him a real good vote of confidence. Now, nothing really transpired through that until the top of the third, and the top of the third was stinking huge. Listen to this play-by-play. Santander singles to right. This is with Luis Severino still pitching. O'Hearn doubles the left, which scores Santander. Then Mullins doubles to score O'Hearn. Then Cowser grounds to first, which is exactly what he wanted to do in that situation. You push the ball to the right side of the infield, which enables Mullins to move to third base. Great piece of hitting by Cowser. He's trying to get a base knock initially, but when the count goes to 0-2, now you're just trying to put that ball in play, and he did a great job of executing that, hitting it to first, allowing Mullins to go over to third with 1 out. So what does Frazier do? Frazier singles to center, or excuse me, as you were. Westberg then follows that up by doubling to left, scoring Mullins. So then Frazier singles. Now you got runners at first and third, okay, because Westberg moves to third, and then Ramon strikes out. So there's 2 outs. Runners on first and third already have a pretty big inning. What does Gunnar Henderson do? He singles to right. Westberg scores, and Frazier moves to third. Well, now they bring in Abreu for Luis Severino because he's getting touched up. It's 5-0 Birds already in the top of the third. So my man Adley reaches on an infield single to shortstop. Frazier scores, and Henderson moves to second. So you got first and second. It's 6-0 Birds with 2 outs. Santander ends up getting hit by a pitch. Rutschman to second, Henderson to third, and then O'Hearn singles in, which he singles in Henderson and Rutschman, and then Santander moves to third. It's 8-0 Orioles. The Birds put up a 7 spot in the top of the third. It was a stinking huge inning. Yankees don't do anything in the bottom of the third. Well, Baltimore's not done yet, baby. Top of the fourth, Abreu comes back out. Cowser walks. Westberg walks. Frazier ends up flying out, but Cowser is able to move up to third. Runners on the corners with 1 down. Urias singles to right. Cowser scores. Westberg moves up to second. And then Henderson hits a monster 3-run stinking blast for his second whammy of the game. Just a monster blast out the right center. Just stinking smoked the ball. I think it was 416 feet. Right after that, Rutschman walks. And then Santander doubles him, Rutschman to third. So second and third. And then my man Ryan O'Hearn comes up again and hits a sac fly to left to score Rutschman, which makes the game 13-0 in the top of the fourth. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful. At that point, you're just kind of like, man, let's get this stinking game over, because they were raking, man. They were stinking. They had 20 hits against the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Just a stinking monster game. So a little bit of controversy happens in the 8th inning. I mean, in typical New York fashion, you kind of got to question the class here. Wandy Peralta comes in. He strikes out Gunnar Henderson. Henderson ended up going 4 for 7. And then McCann, he pinch hits for Adley Rutschman. It's 13-0, man. We're going to give him some time off. We got a big series coming up in Minnesota. So McCann gets a part of the hit party, singles to center field, and then Mateo reaches on that infield single, putting runners at first and second with nobody out. So a wild pitch, Wandy Peralta, okay, with Wandy Peralta, it's a wild pitch, and then McCann moves to third on the wild pitch by Peralta. Well, that wild pitch almost hit O'Hearn in the head. And you're kind of like, okay, maybe the ball stinking got away from him. Maybe it's possible. Okay, so you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. O'Hearn was pissed. He was super upset going down to first base. You can kind of see him out of the side of he's giving him the stink eye. Like, dude, you're going to try to stink and hit me in the head? Really? So he walks. Well, Mullins grounded into a fielder's choice, which scored McCann, and O'Hearn was out at second. Mateo moves up to third. The next stinking batter is Colton Cowser. And what does Wandy Peralta do? He stinking hits him. Hits him right in the stinking rib cage, kind of back area. Colton tried to get out of the way. He, braced as best he could. And, umpire comes out and, he brings in all the umpires and everything, and they end up giving Wandy Peralta a warning, and then he warns both benches. Well, obviously, Brandon Hyde is like, are you kidding me? He just stinking almost hit O'Hearn in the head, and then he hits Colton Cowser, and we're getting a warning. Well, as Hyde is walking out, the umpire meets him. Remember, the Birds are up 14-0. He tosses Brandon Hyde. Brandon Hyde's like even killed as all get out. He's not even really saying anything to the guy. Just like, hey, what in the world is going on? So Wandy almost hits O'Hearn in the face. Then he turns around and hits Colton Cowser, his second game in the big leagues, to load the bases because they're getting stinking blasted. Just showing all kinds of class. And Brandon Hyde comes out to be like, hey, bro, what are you doing? Wandy stays in the game, and Brandon Hyde ends up getting tossed. It was just stinking ridiculous. So Brandon Hyde has to watch the 8th and 9th inning from the clubhouse. Just one of the most bizarre calls I've ever seen. Wandy's hitting people and head hunting, and Brandon Hyde gets tossed, and he's just trying to get an explanation on what's going on. But it's 14-0, and then bottom of the 9th, the Yankees score some stinking meaningless run. I'll be honest with you, Ramon should have made the play. He just didn't get down on the baseball, kind of side played it instead of getting in front of the ball, and it ate him up a little bit. But it'd been nice to shut him out. But 14-1, man, I'm not gonna complain about that at all, and neither should you. So the our Baltimore Orioles moved to 51-35. And like I said previously, the Tampa Bay Rays lost to the Phillies. They've lost 5 straight. They've lost 5 straight baseball games. So the Birds move within 4 games of the Tampa Bay Rays. And they also move 4 games in front of New York again. So, just as pivotal as those first 2 games were, allowing New York to move within 2 games, these last 2 games have just made a monumental statement, okay, that the Birds are back and they're playing good baseball again. Now, like I said, they're about to head to Minnesota, who just the pitching staff absolutely just solved the Orioles. Then they're going to have to face some really good pitchers, and I want to see them. Obviously, I don't expect them to put up 14 runs every night, but we're going to see how hot these bats are, and it was good to see them kind of awake from the slumber that they were in. But man, if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, you need to stinking soak this up. I mean, it's beautiful. How many times do the Baltimore Orioles score 14 and only give up 1 against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium? I mean, that's big, meaningful baseball right there, and we were able to kind of witness that. Now, interesting fact is that the largest ever margin of victory between the Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees, and Jim Palmer talked about it on the broadcast, was 14-0 back in '67. So that would have been cool to tie that record. But once again, man, 14-1, I'm going to take that all stinking day against New York. So it was great that Baltimore came back and they ended up tying this series 2 games to 2 games. The Yankees do come to Baltimore in the end of July after the break. So we will see them again. But two for two. You know, I would have liked to get 3 without Aaron Judge, but you know what? The way that this series started, I'm going to take 500 all day. So once again, our Baltimore Orioles are 51-35. They will start a 3-game set against the Minnesota Twins, and I will be releasing that video later on. Make sure you check it out. Hey, if you love Orioles baseball, if you just want to help me grow this thing because we're family, we got to stick together, please smash the like button, share this content, subscribe to this content, and comment in the comment section. I'm really looking forward to interacting with you guys and growing this big Baltimore baseball family. So, Birds 14, Yankees 1. Gotta stinking love it, man. Go Orioles, go. Let's go O's. Let's go O's. Let's go O's. Peace.